There is power in personal stories. It connects us, it empowers us, and it holds us accountable. It creates understanding and expands our perspective. This is Big in the Community with Jonathan James at the Kalamazoo Promise, a podcast aimed to highlight local leaders, collaborators, and innovators in the greater Kalamazoo community. The delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. That's Steven Spielberg. Should know who Steven Spielberg is. I'm not going to explain who it is. But we have an amazing guest here, Mr. Tyler Walker, Outreach and Engagement Specialist at Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. We're going to kick it off with our first question.
So, hey guys, it's Ramari.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Ramari.
I feel great.
Appreciate you being here, taking the time. Man, how is school?
Man, it just started. Yesterday was the first day, but it feels great. Like, it feels great to be back in college.
And where are you going?
Western Michigan University.
Go Broncos.
Yeah, go Broncos.
Let's go. Everybody in here is a Bronco.
Represent deep.
Yeah.
So, the first question is, how long have you been in your role as Outreach and Engagement Specialist at Big Brothers Big Sisters?
I've been working in this position for just about 6 months now. So it's still relatively new in the grand scheme of things, but long enough that I've settled in, and we've got a lot of big programs and events coming up that I'm able to kind of take charge in. So it's a really fun spot of being excited, and it's different and it's new, but still having a good amount of experience under my belt.
It's a good place to be at too.
For sure.
I what's the word? Endorse Big Brother Big Sister. We were going to sign up as a big family.
Okay.
And then I found out we wouldn't have made it through the process because we just had a kid.
Okay.
So one of the things is to make sure that you have a stable environment and everything. So I would have been very disappointed if I actually filled out the paperwork.
Yeah, consistency is a big part of it. So we obviously want to make sure that of everyone who's interested that, it's going to be something that we can see sticking around long lasting, because those are where you get a lot of the big benefits for the family and the individuals that you're working with.
Mm. It made sense once I found out. But when I first found out, I was like, what? I would have failed. No. What's wrong with me? But no, it makes sense. They explained it perfectly, so I'm okay with it. I'm content with it. So moving on to our second question. Can you share your journey with us? Who is Tyler Walker?
Yeah, I love the Kalamazoo Promise. I've lived Kalamazoo adjacent my whole life. Grew up in Plainwell, went through Plainwell schools, did a lot of community theater in the area, did a lot of, band, that kind of stuff. Even just career-wise, I started out in music education at Western. That kind of transferred into more just education specifically without the music aspect towards it. And once I had graduated, I was like, you know what? Education is a very daunting place to be in right now. I want to make sure that I'm as ready for it as possible. Becoming an adult is tough and stressful. So maybe I'll find something that's a little bit less stressful for right out of college. And I ended up with the Community Media Center of Grand Rapids. Absolutely loved it, doing their education coordination and things like that. And after about a year and a half there, I just really found that the nonprofit work is something that really spoke to me, something I really enjoyed. And as much as I loved working there, the 45-minute drive every day and, realizing that I wanted to stick around in the nonprofit area, I started to look for, positions that were a little bit more local, that I could use some of my strengths in a stronger way. And I ended up here doing recruitment and engagement, something that I never saw out that specific department or job title or something like that. But, you look at the job responsibilities and stuff like that, and it goes, oh, I think my strengths really complement this. So, like I said, I've been there for about 6 months now, and, it's been very exciting to see a lot of the qualities that I saw myself using in education now being used for nonprofit in a way that still blends very well.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. When did you graduate from Western?
So I graduated from Western at the very end of 2021. So I was
Okay.
there for about 4.5 years.
So you had some of that COVID.
Oh yeah,
You know.
COVID, right?
Mhm.
Towards the last third of it, I was still able to do the last semester fully in person, but had a semester offline, a semester or online, had a semester of just one or two classes in person. Kind of moving back towards it. So yeah, I definitely saw a lot of it from beginning to end. Still got to do my graduation, but my wife actually, she was graduating spring of 2020. So just got the last end clip. So certainly less of an impact, but definitely the significant part of it.
Yeah, you didn't get to have the ceremony.
Yeah, so definitely saw a lot of friends who were a little bit older have to deal with that kind of stuff. And I was the drum major of the marching band for 2 years, so I had my first year was that quote unquote 2020 season where I think we did a car parade. And that was about it.
Wow.
And then going into 2021 where it's okay, now we're back. Now we're in it. Now we're doing the full season and stuff like that. So as much as I would love some of that time back, I think my schedule was made it so that I could still end on a strong note.
That's good. And you said that when you're reading the description for the job, it kind of spoke to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, how that will happen. Because you'll look at the title and be like, I don't know if that's me. I don't think that's. But then you read the description, it's oh, I could do that. I could do that. This fits. It aligns. And it's one of those things we try to tell our scholars, you might get a certain degree, but it doesn't mean you don't have skills
100%.
that could apply to this.
And I have a lot of friends who have graduated within the past couple of years, and many of them are doing really great work with job titles that you would not expect based on the degrees that they have, and they're very happy in those positions. So I think it's an opportunity to foster a lot of skills that you have, but know that you don't necessarily have to go into something that is as narrow as whatever your degree is specifically in.
Awesome. All right.
How would you say in your role do you engage with the Kalamazoo community?
Yeah, especially on our recruitment team, we're the people who are engaging with the community the most. We do a lot of tabling events, especially throughout the summer, whether it's the Juneteenth event, the Pride events, that kind of stuff, where we've got tables, people are coming by, and we're able to talk with them as they're, being a little bit more open to that kind of environment. And it's really exciting to see that a lot of people will come up and say, oh, I had a big when I was growing up, but I didn't know it was in Southwest Michigan. So kind of finding that balance of that there's a lot of people who are excited at the concept, but maybe don't even know that we're here and that what we're offering and kind of what that looks like. I'll do a lot of presentations at businesses or organizations. I recently did one with the Rotary Club of Kalamazoo. I've got one coming up with Mon and Hummel, which is a car part manufacturing organization in the area. And so it's a very wide variety of opportunities to just kind of be in front of as many people as possible, because we found that once people engage with us and participate with us, they have a really good experience. The issue that we have is just trying to reach out to as many people as possible. Even something I know we'll all be at Bronco Bash later today, just another opportunity to get in front of people and just keep our name at the forefront of people's brains.
Now, when you table, because I table a lot
For
too.
sure.
So when you table events, are you the person who's I'm gonna sit behind, let them come to me? Are you going through the crowd? Are you standing in front of the table next to it?
It really depends on the people that I think are going to be there. Recently, I did a kind of community volunteer fair with Firekeepers Casino that they actually do a lot of work towards either you can paid volunteer time and stuff like that. So they had us there to kind of promote ourselves. But I was there during their lunch hour, and I had a table just kind of in their cafeteria. For something like that, I'm hands off because these people, it's their lunch break. They don't need someone in their face. For something like, Bronco Bash later today, where I know it's, the goal is to grab people's attention. If you're walking around that space, you've kind of accepted that people are going to be engaging with you. It's a very social space. For something like that, it's a lot of, hey, we've got prizes. Why don't you spin our little prize wheel or something like that? And once someone's kind of taken the time to stop, it's oh, have you heard about our organization? And kind of thinking ahead about what kind of aspects of participating with us might be most beneficial to the people that we're talking to, because I know I don't want to waste people's time. We have a really strong big pride program with our organization. So if I'm at those pride programs, I'm going to talk about that first. For something like Bronco Bash with, university students, I'm going to talk about our Sports Buddies program, because we do a lot more of the planning for that. They don't have to organize as much, and the time commitment is shorter than our typical, community-based matches that we have. So knowing what people are already going to be kind of the most interested in, and kind of trying to reflect that.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys have a big that fits whatever type of spot you're in your life.
Yeah, we try to make it as accessible as possible, trying to lower those barriers to engage with us and to participate. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of time available in the evening or weekends, like people might assume is the time that we do it, we also have a Bigs in Schools program where you can share a lunch hour with a student. So maybe if you have more flexibility during the middle of the day, that's something that you could do, as opposed to, us matching you with a little that has a schedule that's reflective of, hey, I can only do Tuesdays and Thursdays nights. That's the only time I have time to fill, but I still want to participate. We can make something like that work, or if it's, I can only do weekends, we have a lot of opportunities to create something that is, still going to work within your schedule. And if you have the 2 hours once every 2 weeks that this really, asks of you, that there's a program that will reflect when those 2 hours are.
That's awesome. You got something for everybody. I got the next question, right? All right. I just have to make sure I don't want to take you out the spotlight for a second. So I think you already touched on this a little bit, but how do you collaborate with local organizations and initiatives to further the mission of Big Brother Big Sister?
One of the biggest things that I think our agency is most excited about right now is our Paint the Town Green campaign. So that's coming up in the middle of September here, starting on the 14th, about a week long, where we are partnering with just shy of 100 local businesses within the Kalamazoo, Portage, Battle Creek, Allegan County area, all of this kind of 4-county area that we participate in. And the idea is that it's not a fundraiser. We are merely trying to just get our name out there as much as we can to make sure that the people who are interested or might be interested are able to see us and hear about us. So whether that's, restaurants or, manufacturing companies, anything that's a newsletter where all these places like downtown businesses are able to do something related to the color green. One of our big goals is to have green be the color of mentoring, the same way you might think of, the color pink for breast cancer or something like that, to kind of create that connotation that when you see it, you immediately understand, what we're working towards. And this big initiative, having various town halls give, declarations and stuff like that, turning the colors outside of businesses green. What we found, and this is, just kind of an advertising principle in general, that, when people see you multiple times over, that's when it really starts to kick. It's not just seeing a flyer next to the checkout once, but it's seeing that at multiple places where you go. And the hope is to just work with those organizations that know that what we're doing is good work and it's worth, supporting and propping up. Because right now we have about over 100 kids on a wait list to find a big. And obviously, because our organization has such a strong history of this one-to-one mentoring relationship for the vast majority of our programs, means we need 100 volunteers to kind of offset, the wait list that we have. And a lot of the times that could be much bigger, but we try to be careful about how many kids we're bringing into our wait list to make sure that, we're able to support all of them as properly as we can. Obviously, with most businesses, COVID, kind of took a little bit of a lull on the amount of recruitment that we're able to do. But now we're back in it, we're going really strong, and we're trying to use this as an opportunity to not only let other businesses show that they're invested in the community and, the sake of, the youth involved with it, but also as an opportunity for us to just try to gain as many more, quality, long-lasting volunteers as we can.
So what's the plan to get more volunteers? What systems are in place for you to be able to get more Big Brothers and Big Sisters?
The big thing that kind of relates to my position is being able to talk to people, and it's not that it's an automatic buy-in of applying. Once you've applied, that means that you're guaranteed to spend a year absolutely once every 2 weeks, doing this, that I try to give people as much room as possible to interact with us in a way that they feel comfortable without the pressure of now you're in, if you take this next step, now you're locked in, and it's somehow, something to feel less of if you step away from it. Obviously, once people get to the point where they're matched, there's that bit of dedication that we're looking for. But I spend a lot of my time throughout the week just having phone calls with people, talking about, hey, you said that you were interested. Let's just talk about it. Let's just, hey, these are the options that we have, whether it's, being out in the community, whether it's, being something that's put on by us, like our Sports Buddies program, talking about all the partnerships that we have. My favorite one to talk about is the Air Zoo, that if you go with your match to the Air Zoo, free admission for both of you. We get a lot of free tickets from places like Miller Auditorium, the Growlers, K-Wings, local sporting events, entertainment places, that even though we don't expect any money from our bigs, which is another thing to, make sure that we're reiterating that people donating their time is generous enough, just really trying to make sure that people feel comfortable making that commitment and knowing that just reaching out to us or just coming up to our table isn't that commitment that we're looking for, and that can come down the road.
And so what about the outreach for people that don't come to events, or that's not community partners, that just live in the community?
Yeah, a lot of that comes from things like our Paint the Town Green initiative, where we try to just meet people where they're at, whether that is just like restaurants or partnering with larger corporations that, we can reach out to their employees on, ways that they might be able to participate with us outside of their time with their careers and their jobs. The capacity to just trying to get in front of those people as much as possible is definitely one of our big priorities.
That's amazing. And you lead all that?
We have a team of about 3 people. That's like our recruitment side of people. So I have, our recruitment manager who's above me, and then our community engagement coordinator who kind of does the community partnerships. And I do a lot of the in-person execution of things like the tabling events and the things of that nature.
That's amazing. So
you got a team of 3. Yeah. Just got to throw that out there. For anybody that's listening, community engagement is important. So
the next question is, why do you believe in having support systems like mentoring, like having that in your education process and just in life personally? Yeah,
I think that I'm very fortunate that I have was always the person who did a lot of extracurriculars growing up. And I think that the impact that, the directors and the coaches and the people who were in charge of those kind of youth-led organizations really had a positive impact on me. And one of the things that we found the most is that when youth are able to have a connection with somebody who's outside of their family unit, someone who cares about them, who doesn't have to, that is a really impactful relationship to have, especially just for setting the benchmark for what a mature and safe relationship looks like. Being able to have an adult that we've said, hey, we've vetted this person, they are eager to provide support, for this child, and now because of their, 3-year match that they had, they now know if someone in the future perhaps tries to take advantage of them, they can say, hey, this doesn't feel right, because I have context for what a mature, respectful relationship is. And I also think that a lot of people can think back to the time where, your parents are giving you advice or, trying to tell you to do things a certain way. And you just think, oh my God, you are so embarrassing. Don't even talk to me. Why would you even say that?
Or you don't hear it. It's just,
yeah. And then, a friend's older sibling or, someone who's maybe a couple grades above you goes and says something that, you can look back on and say that was pretty much the same advice, but you heard it from someone outside of that family unit and you're like, hey, dang, I think they're onto something. Maybe I do need to start, being more financially responsible. Maybe I do need to, make sure I'm going to my classes on time every day and stuff like that. Things that, your parents or your guardians have been, trying to get into your head for years. But, I don't claim to be a child psychologist, but there's something about someone that you trust outside of your family unit giving you that kind of advice that just sticks more. I know that from my own personal experience, but also, I've worked in every stage of education you can, preschool all the way up to, community education, where I'm, working with people who are in their 60s and 70s. And there's something about that, elementary to high school range that just sometimes that advice from someone else that, cares about you, but isn't in that same family unit setting is just resonates a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we really tried to provide and to uplift as much as possible.
It's kind of like what you said with the advertising. When you see it in multiple places, if you keep hearing the same message, all right, maybe I should do X, Y, and Z.
And don't get me wrong, like, I love my parents, but, you know, I wanted to be independent more than anything. So sometimes, you know, my parents would give me advice and it's like, I'm going to do the opposite and I'm still going to succeed just to show you that I didn't need to take your advice on that. And that wasn't necessarily the best approach to take, but the idea of having other support systems that people can latch onto that are all quality, that are all, you know, meaning well, is something that is just really impactful for kids of all ages to have.
Nice. I know we're participating in the Paint the Town Green. We got our shirts. We ordered them.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for confirmation. Yeah, we got them. Yep, I got the confirmation. Yep, we got the shirts. We're going to change our logo. Luckily, we have green.
Okay.
We were able to allocate the resources to get those shirts, so no worries about that. But yeah, we'll be participating, help lifting up mentorship. But our next question is, what motivated you to pursue a career in outreach and engagement? I know you talked about it a little bit, but what specifically about Big Brother Big Sister stuck out to you?
I think I've always had this connection with positions that are very social. And this obviously is a very social job, and that was clear from applying for it to begin with. But I think that in the way that I like to interact with people, it's really important to have a position and just work for, I'm sure you can all agree, you know, something that means a lot. I feel like where I might have the social skills to be a, you know, competitive car salesman or something like that, it's not really the thing that brings me that fulfillment, and being able to use those social skills in a way that I know I'm promoting something, you know, that I've worked in education my whole life. Every job that I've had has been, you know, involved with kids. And even though I don't work with, you know, the children specifically in this job, I know that what I'm doing helps support and helps uplift them. And I think really prioritizing just an organization that it's exciting to say that you work with them, that when I say, hey, I just got a job at Big Brothers Big Sisters, or hey, this is what I work and this is what I do, people get excited and they say, oh my gosh, that's so cool, as opposed to something that might be, you know, merely a for-profit organization or something like that can still do a lot of good, but, you know, maybe doesn't necessarily invoke that same amount of pride when it comes to who you're working for.
No, I definitely get that. You don't go home and think like, if you sold a car, oh, I did a great job. I really made an impact on that family or
For
that
sure.
person who got the.
Or it's like, I sold them a car, but I got them to spend, you know, $2,000-$3,000 more than they needed to, because now I know that, you know, my paycheck will be a little bit bigger, and the company's happy that I you know, increase the profit line. Where for something like this, I can have a conversation with someone who's on the fence about wanting to engage with, you know, youth like this, that maybe they haven't like this ever before, and they realize that, hey, we have training, we have resources, we have all of this support to make sure that you're successful and that everyone is comfortable and happy. And they say, okay, yeah, I think I will. And then I see their name come across as an application, and I see them, you know, finish the process and get matched. And I know that, you know, I was able to kind of help push them over that line in order to make that commitment. And now that I've been here for a couple of months, I'm seeing that more and more, the more often that I work with people. And that's the kind of fulfillment that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, even for them just to try something new. Like, people might not think they'd be a good mentor or a big.
People think that, you know, you have to have some sort of specific background or that you have to be successful to a certain degree, which is absolutely not the case, because the mentorship doesn't come from, hey, we're going to teach this person how to be just like you and some arbitrary form of success. It's just having that mature, safe relationship where we have matches that get together and just play chess. They go to a park or a coffee shop. They just play chess because the youth loves to play chess, and the, you know, big in the scenario is very good at it and also enjoys that as a hobby. You know, maybe the other people in their family might know how to play chess, but not to the same degree that this person really enjoys it. You know, some matches just go through and do movie marathons and try to watch all the Marvel movies and stuff like that.
I might have to sign up for that.
Yeah. So when people realize that it's not like you're just tutoring a child and that you have to know the, you know, all of the math and the reading and all that stuff, because that's all that you're doing with them. That the goal is to have, a quality, safe relationship that is very social and that is very fun. And that I think a lot of times people think that they're sacrificing that time, which it is very generous to spend your free time doing that. But a lot of our bigs report such positive interactions and such a strong connection. It's not oh geez, I have to go and do this. I know I'm good. I know it's for the greater good, so I'm going to do it, but I'm going to, hold my breath the whole time and just get through it. No, the bigs who are a part of our organization thoroughly enjoy it, because if they didn't, like with all volunteering, then they wouldn't continue with it. And the matches that we have are strong because both sides really enjoy the process.
Love it.
So if you could transform one aspect of community engagement or youth mentoring in Kalamazoo, what would it be?
This is probably the question that I was looking forward to the most when you had kind of briefed me on it, because
if you have infinite funding too,
no limits.
It's honestly not even about funding as far as what I would change about, the community or impact on it. My big thing that I always try to tell people, and sometimes I feel like it can come off disingenuous because of the position that I'm in, but everyone should volunteer. Everyone needs to spend some amount of their time regularly, consistently. And when I say that, that doesn't mean every day or every week. Even if you're going to spend a day once every 6 months and this is your thing that you do to give back to the community. Everybody needs to have something that they're doing that gives back to the community. And obviously when I'm saying this at a booth and I have our little, inquiry cards, and then I kind of say, if you would like to do that with Big Brothers Big Sisters, that's kind of my job, is to recruit and work with people to find a place for them in our organization. I understand that that's not what everybody is going to be fulfilled by or necessarily feels the most comfortable with, whether that's, working with, the housing in the area or working with animals in the area, things like that. Everyone finding something to volunteer with and for, I think would have a tremendous impact on the community, especially because I know that if that were the case, we would still get a tremendous amount of engagement and a tremendous amount more of volunteers if all of the adults in the area, made that commitment to give back. And I try to tell that to people a lot, even in our inquiries, where it's, hey, I think that we have a really great organization here. But if you are hearing this and you say, I really want to give back, but I'm not really feeling this, that's totally okay, because we want people to come and learn about our organization in a way that is comfortable to say, hey, well, if you want to give back, we know a lot of great organizations that you can still give back in a way that you feel the most comfortable with. And I know that there's other organizations that do the same for us. So I'm not just turning people away completely. Kalamazoo has so many nonprofits that even I don't know about, and I'm sure I am more engaged than the average person in Kalamazoo. And so if there was one thing that I could really change about the community, it would just be that everyone gets on board and does something to give back, because there's so many great nonprofits that are operating with, just maybe a few dozen volunteers, if that. And you think of the tens of thousands of people that live in Kalamazoo, if everyone decided to do something and give back, I would imagine that every nonprofit would have to turn volunteers away, which I don't think will ever be an issue, but is something to acknowledge that if everyone did give back, that we would solve a lot of the, support and resource issues that a lot of the nonprofits who are doing a lot of great work kind of try to have to overcome.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if there's a wait list for people trying to give back.
Yeah, I would love for my job in recruitment to recruit the kids, to recruit the youth in the community, because we just have so many volunteers and so many bigs that are willing to participate and be a part of this, that now I have to find the children who would benefit from it, which would be a way easier job, because every kid would benefit from this. Sometimes there's the idea that, the kids you're working with are going to have some sort of issues or struggles that, you have to burden completely, when that is absolutely not the case, that this is an opportunity for you to be one of many support systems in this child's life.
You got to be the change you want to see.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
And I know giving up your free time in any way with everyone's schedule is always tough, which is why I say, something that's consistent. That doesn't mean once every week or necessarily every 2 weeks, but it's something that you consistently do, an organization that you're a part of and that you're proud to work with, because when you have that consistency, you just stick with it a lot longer.
And that's why you have to love, I feel like, the community work, because you're like you'll work on a random Saturday or Sunday, not even
Absolutely.
at a tabling event, but you can go make a connection with a random kid, or you can meet a big,
Mm-hmm.
and then so it's like everything is just so weird because you have to like literally talk to everybody. So you have to get out of your shell. So that's the greatest part about it.
Was at a family event recently for my wife, and this was like one of her grandparents' friends who was a board member of one of the Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies out in Ohio, and it was just like this weird connection to make, and we talked for a long time and had a great conversation. And it's very funny just to see from our standpoint of being a part of a national organization, even though our agency, you know, is specifically for Southwest Michigan, that there's, you know, so many people out there who have, you know, such a similar lived experience with their careers, even working with Big Brothers Big Sisters, that you know, we couldn't possibly talk to everyone, but that, you know, means that there's a lot of outreach there.
That's awesome. All right. What are some of your favorite things about living and working in Kalamazoo? Well, Kalamazoo adjacent.
First, I live in
work.
Kalamazoo.
No, I mean for work.
Oh, for work. Yeah, I guess.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kalamazoo is one of our where we do have a lot of participation in. Obviously, you know, we're in the Calhoun, Van Buren, you know, Kalamazoo, Allegan counties, all that kind of stuff. So Kalamazoo is a big focus for us. And as someone who's lived, you know, I've never lived further than 20 minutes from Kalamazoo. I definitely, it always has a special place in my heart. I think having Western here as, you know, a Bronco alumni, just being able to go back to the football games and the various events that they have there. I love to take walks across campus and stuff like that. Is definitely something that I really enjoy. I feel like the restaurants in Kalamazoo are getting better. I just went to
About it.
to Barrio, Mexican place downtown here. That's great.
It's in walking distance.
Yeah.
Like it's less than, it's what, 20 seconds away? Yeah, from here. Like we could go out the back door and be right there.
Even like when you get towards like off Drake, the Condado Tacos, Nanla Burger, that kind of stuff. You know, these places that are chains but still like locally owned places where it's like there's not, you know, they're all Michigan focused. I love the BC Pizza, that kind of stuff. So I feel like
They do hometown heroes. I just want to throw this out there. So like maybe for Big Brother Big Sister, I know they do it for, I think it's like teachers, like different types of educators.
Okay.
I want to say
Discount
public
or
service. You get a discount.
Yeah, I saw
like
that.
it's a
It's
crazy
like-
discount.
It's posted like right in the store when you walk.
You get
in,
like half off.
Yeah.
My wife used to work at one, and so I
Okay.
would go there. I'd be like, let me get some stuffed breadsticks with pepperoni, cheese. Like, yes.
Oh, you was a
yes. I was
regular.
going. I mean, I was going in.
Man, I'm
Sorry.
like-
I
no, they got
just-
this hot. Bro, they got this hot honey. I throw it on. It's just Mike's hot honey, but like a pepperoni pizza is like, bro.
Yeah.
I might get that for lunch.
and it's there's definitely the part of me that's like more excited to go out to eat, you know, somewhere like Crow's Nest. Where
oh,
it's-
that's my spot.
Yeah.
See now, yep.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, well, I probably shouldn't be eating out so much, but I'm giving back to the community. I know that
Right.
money is going into the pockets of people who live in the city, and it will continue to be spent there. But I like the atmosphere of it being a college town without it being like a huge college town, like you know, an Ann Arbor or a Lansing or something like that. So I do really like that it brings in a lot of different people, where you have the people who have been in Kalamazoo for forever, but then you also have this kind of rotating aspect of the students and things like that. And as far as just trying to work with more people, I think that there's, you know, just a lot of really strong groups in the area, especially when it comes to nonprofits, that in my mission to get everyone to volunteer in some capacity, it probably won't happen to the fullest extent, but there is so many opportunities in Kalamazoo to do that. And that also means that there's so many people in Kalamazoo who care about, you know, making the community better. I think that all of those things together make Kalamazoo a pretty cool place to live. I don't see myself moving anytime soon.
You got some kids. They're gonna use the promise. We're just gonna throw that out
Yeah,
there
there you go.
because it exists in perpetuity. It will never end. And at least one of my kids will use it for sure. I
Very
know that.
exciting.
I don't know if we'll stay forever.
I'm,
but
as much as I am jealous of the people who had the promise, I wasn't fortunate enough. I am very fortunate that Western has a program that full-time staff of the university, their dependents get 75% off tuition. So something like that was something that was very impactful for me. So as much as I am currently college debt-free, I understand that was not because of any deliberate choice I made other than going to the university that I wanted to go to the entire time. And so yeah, something like that is very, very powerful. I know a lot of people who struggle with very large, student loan payments and stuff like that, and the opportunity to go to a school that can provide that post-secondary education would be something that I'm sure a lot of them wish they had.
It fast forwards things. Like you're not, staying in a small apartment, paying off your loans until you can go straight to, okay, now I'm saving for
100%.
a house, it changes things drastically. So
I got married right after I graduated. So I feel like I didn't notice a change in my finances because it went from, not being able to work a lot, focusing on being a student to, okay, now I have adult money, but all of that's just going into saving up for a wedding. And then once that was over, it's like, oh, I actually am in a position where we can set money aside and things like that, which is very exciting, and to look towards the future to do that. And I know that is a very fortunate position for me to be in compared to other people.
Yeah, and that's why it's so big for like the promise to be available for all our graduates, because it's just like, whoa, this can definitely change things for you and put you in a different spot.
Absolutely.
How do you think being involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters has shaped your life, and what would you say to someone considering being a mentor?
It's one of those things where having the opportunity to find fulfillment in something that you're doing regularly is so impactful. And I am so fortunate that I get to go to work and I get to do the things that I talk about trying to get people to do in their free time, which is obviously a very different situation. As far as just working with Big Brothers Big Sisters, just the people that they hire, they're very mindful about having a very strong, diverse, multifaceted team, and that makes working there a lot of fun. I was very excited. There's always those nerves on the first day, and I meet the people that I kind of share my cubicle, collection with, and now I'm still excited to talk to all of them, and I love working with everyone that I work with. So I think that when you have an organization that is working towards doing the good, like Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I imagine it's similar with the Promise as well, that there's already a much higher likelihood that you're going to get along with the people who work at a place like that. As far as people considering being a mentor, my biggest pitch is that let us, connect you with people who are bigs, people who do it, because once someone has done it for 6 months, a year, again, the commitment that we ask most of the time is about 2 hours every 2 weeks. I don't think that that's too intrusive on someone's schedule, and there is a lot of flexibility within that as well. And the people who do complete, about a year of doing that are much more likely to stay with it long term as well, and they have such positive things to say about it. It's hard for anyone to not think that it's like, oh, well, maybe it's not worth it, maybe I don't have the time for it. But then we see the people who did make that commitment, who did say yes when they were going back and forth between whether or not they were going to do it, and they have such a positive experience, it's hard to think that, you'll know better than the people who have done it. And I think that is something that we're really excited to be able to uplift, are the people who are doing that and the people who are really enjoying it.
I think that's one of the best things that you guys do, is having someone who can come back and say, this is what I did as a big. I got to hear a little bit of a conversation between Amy and then someone else she was having a meeting with.
Yeah, our director, Amy.
Yeah, and the person she was talking with was explaining how when she got that advice from someone else who was a big, she was able to ask those questions like, well, what do you do in this situation? What about this? What about this? So like those things that might come up that might not be in the training, she was able to get answers for.
Yeah, every match is so unique, but a lot of the, confusion or hesitation that people have is very similar to other people. So the idea that we don't have somebody who went through the same thing who can help give some insight into what that looks like is very slim. And we have a lot of great mentor relationship specialists that are paired with all of our matches who do, regular calls and check-ins and things like that to give those resources. It's something that sometimes people think that once they're matched, we're just hands off and they just are going to do whatever, when that's really not the case. place that not only are we really involved to make sure that the child's safety is a priority, but it's also something that we can give a lot of resources and advice and just general help to everyone involved in the match, whether that's the little, the big, the parents, anybody, because we have so many connections with nonprofits in the area. That also means that if there's a little who, is struggling with, food consistency, and they voice that to the big, and then the big mentions that during one of their conversations with our staff, we can say, well, hey, we actually have, a connection with the organizations that are there to help people in those situations. Let's get that information out to them. And now, just by being a part of our program, we're able to voice all of the different resources that Kalamazoo or the respective city has to offer, which is, a very passive benefit to just being a part of our program long term.
Yeah, and it's not some right up front you would think, oh, this is going to help me with this.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens, community organization, they know all the different people and make those connections.
And if you already love going to the K-Wings games or the Growlers games, sign up for Sports Buddies and enjoy that kind of stuff, with someone in the community, and be able to share that hobby with someone consistently who maybe doesn't have that in their family unit, all while being supported by our organization. That kind of stuff is really powerful. And I think sometimes people think it's, you're just sitting in a park twiddling your thumbs trying to just fill conversation for this long, and that's really not the case, because we have so many great resources to keep people busy and to keep people fun and engaged and things like that.
Nice. All right, here's a big question. What golden nugget of wisdom would you share with someone aspiring to follow a similar career path in community outreach and engagement?
You got to find something that you are excited to engage with, because I could find this position being something that someone would really dislike if they weren't excited about the mission they were behind. The previous nonprofit that I worked with up in Grand Rapids was an amazing group that I really enjoyed the work that I was doing, but the media production side of things just wasn't my passion. And that's something that I learned despite all of the support that I have there with their staff, and it's still an amazing organization, but it just wasn't the best fit for me. And the idea that I'm doing similar work here, but for something that I'm a lot more excited and passionate about, because I have such a background with education and children and things like that, makes, some of the longer days, like today, for instance, a lot more exciting to do.
Because we're going to love being out in the 91-degree heat advisory weather.
I think it was Portage School's got a half day today.
Grand Rapids closed.
Okay,
they shut it down. They said, not our kids.
Yeah. So things like that, I'm still very excited to do that kind of stuff because of the mission that I know I'm supporting. And I know that for everyone, that might not be what I find interesting. So if there was someone who wanted to be in that nonprofit area, someone who was helping recruit, someone who's helping to be a part of the community and make those connections, for the greater good of whatever community they're a part of, just got to find the organizations that you're excited about. And, sometimes that doesn't mean that the perfect job is going to be, already available for you to walk right into. But that also means that there's a lot of great opportunities just to volunteer with those types of groups as well, and to find what you really enjoy, because it might not be the thing that you think it is right off the bat. So for anyone out there who thinks that this type of career is something that they're interested in, you just have to start getting involved, and you have to find out what's out there, because as much as the nonprofits that I've worked with, our biggest thing has been just letting people know that we're here and who we are. And once we do, we get that success from there. You have to realize that you're probably in the same situation to other nonprofits where you don't know that they're out there and you don't know what they do. And if you did, then you would really enjoy that and really buy into it. So just doing the research of what's out there and how you can participate is going to make, staying with that group long term a lot easier and a lot more fulfilling.
Can I ask a follow-up? Okay. How do you find what's out there?
It's a great question. I think something as simple as just Googling like nonprofits near me. Like have always been a lot of efforts to make some sort of large database, but I found that a lot of times there's always people that are left out of that. There's always things that aren't quite up to date just because there's always things that are moving and shaking. Going to community events are where you're going to find the people who are the most active. We've been to, like I said, like the Juneteenth celebrations and the Pride events and stuff like that, where those are the opportunities for even me to look around and say, oh, there's an organization that, helps people who have been incarcerated, get back onto their feet and make sure that they're supported in a way that there's not a repeat of a situation like that. I didn't know that existed, for the Battle Creek area. And that's really awesome to see. And that might not have been on, a Battle Creek website or something like that, but it's something that is out there. So I think trying to find those events that are happening that you will probably find on a, City of Kalamazoo calendar or something like that are happening out in Bronson Park or, at the amphitheaters, that kind of stuff. And just walking around and just talking to people. It might not be as easy as, clicking through, a top 10 BuzzFeed article of, nonprofits in Kalamazoo, but just getting engaged in that way are, do the things that you want to do and that you might be interested in. And I'm sure there's a group out there that is looking for help and support.
Nice.
I was thinking about when you said to participate, how can individuals in the community get involved with Big Brothers and Big Sisters and support you on recruiting mentors?
Yeah. So whether it's, financially donating to us, whether it's, maybe you don't have the consistency in your schedule, but you want to volunteer for some of our regular yearly events. We have like a benefit dinner, a big fire and ice ball. We have a bowl for kids' sake, like bowling tournament, that kind of stuff. We're always looking for volunteers for those types of events. We're always looking for people who can donate resources. A lot of times we'll have people who will donate, an old pool table or something like that now matches can use in our office or something like that. Things where people can donate resources that matches can use. But also if you want to participate and you want to be a lot of that can be found at thinkbigtoday.org. A lot of times that comes up if you Google, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Kalamazoo, Portage, Battle Creek, that kind of stuff. That's our agency specific website, thinkbigtoday.org. And there is a lot of opportunities to just look at what the application is, to reach out to us if you have any questions. But we also have a lot of great videos about our agency specifically that are really well produced, that really highlight some of our matches in the area and what that relationship is like. If anyone feels that this is something that they're kind of semi-interested in, head to our website, again, thinkbigtoday.org, and just read through some of the stuff, watch the videos, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure a lot of your questions will be answered. And if they're not, or you just want to talk about it more, you can find ways to reach out to us there. Odds are it'll be me reaching out to you to speak, which I'm always excited to do. And no matter what way you want to participate, that's going to be the best way to get involved with us.
That's amazing.
Also, just people thinking about people in their lives that might be good bigs, even if it's not the thing that you think is quite right for you. I'm sure everyone has someone in their life that would be a good mentor who just maybe doesn't know that this is an option for them out there. And it goes a really long way, especially to be told, hey, I think you would be a great mentor in that way. And if you're able to compliment someone enough to think that that's something that they would be successful in, I think that that's a great opportunity for people to help recruit for us, even if they're not as involved with us as maybe they would like.
Nice. I think you answered the next question too for how to get in touch with you.
Yeah,
So-
thinkbigtoday.org is going to be the best way to just get in contact with our agency. We have a really great newsletter that anyone is welcome to join, even if it's something that you aren't ready to fully participate with us yet. Just get more information about it. We've always got end of the year donation opportunities. We've got a lot of cool events that we just put on that people can just participate in, and that supports us, especially like our Fire and Ice Ball coming up, that kind of stuff. So even if it's not something that you're actively volunteering with us, but you're just around and you're able to engage with us, like and follow us on all the social medias, that kind of stuff, really helps get our message out there.
I gotta say, for 6 months, you got this stuff down.
Thank you. I love to talk. That's one of the big things, regardless of the things that I'm doing or just in my social life. So a job that lets me go out into the community and talk about something that they want me to talk about,
Mhm.
absolutely no issue there. It's a great program, and I'll back it with all my heart, and I'll talk to anyone who wants to talk about it.
Nice. All right. Oh yeah, Paint the Town Green.
Paint the Town Green, September 14th. We've got a week long of activities across various counties. We'll be in the Allegan County Parade for the first time this year, so I'm very excited about that. Just got the notification that our banner's been delivered, so a lot of really cool stuff. I hope that anyone listening starts to see us around the community a little bit more than they already have, and please, please, please reach out to us. I know sometimes it's easy to think, oh, well, that was a nice podcast. I hope somebody reaches out and applies. And then you get the bystander effect. If you're listening to this, not you as in the audience, but like you specifically listening to this, if this is something you're interested in, bookmark thinkbigtoday.org. Life gets busy, and if you just look at something like that really quick, do it right now while you're thinking about it, it's going to happen far more often and far more quickly than if you say, I'll get to it. I'll think about it maybe tomorrow, maybe this weekend I'll look into it. And we never do. It never happens. So pull that up right now, take a look at it, and we really hope to see some more names come across our desk, especially with a big recruitment campaign coming up this September.
Nice. Do you have any questions for us?
No, I just really want to thank you guys for having me. Your offices here are beautiful. It's been super nice getting to know you guys. And, I know one of the big things that I've been getting used to just in my time here is we have so many connections with people that I haven't made yet, even though we've already, have connections with businesses and organizations and stuff like that. So just getting to meet and get to know even more people has been really exciting. So I just really appreciate you guys having me.
Hey, thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
Help us paint the town green.
All right,
Yes,
we'll
sir.
do it. We're here for it. We got our green logo. We got our shirts.
There you go. We love
We got to
it.
do some extra stuff too, but thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It was a blast.